All right, welcome back to another lesson. I'm Mr. Johnson. You guys probably aren't used to seeing me with glasses. Normally I wear contacts at school. So I am back here ready to make another lesson for you guys, something for you guys to draw. I'm going to do something really simple today. Oftentimes you'll find these online referred to as Zentangles, Zentangle. So if you go to Google and just Google Zentangle patterns, Zentangle ideas, Zentangle projects, whatever, you'll find tons of examples of different patterns that you can use to get ideas. And there's lots of different projects you could do with this. It's a pretty popular new thing. I've done this project for 16 years with my students, similar to this, and I always called it a doodle drawing, just doodling lines and stuff. So this is what we're going to do today, and we're going to use some simple household objects to make circles, because if you have a compass at home, that's great, you could use a compass, but I'm going to use a bowl, a ramekin that's slightly smaller, and then a little glass that's a little smaller. So I have 3 different size circles that I can use. Now I'm going to start, I've got 2 different Sharpies, an ultra fine and then a fine point Sharpie. Use whatever you have, just like I've said before. If you want to do this whole drawing in pencil, do it in pencil. If you want to do it in a colored pencil, if you want to do it in pen works really well for this. Whatever you want, whatever tool you want to use is fine. So I'm going to start, and I'm just going with the Sharpie right away. I'm not going to do pencil first. If you do have Sharpies or black markers, you might want to go in pencil first. So I'm going to just trace some big circles on my paper, and some of them are going to go off the page, some of them are going to overlap. So let's start with one on the side of the paper, and we're just going to make some big circles first. All right, so we got some big circles down. I'm going to do one more right here, actually. Okay, then I'm going to move on to my smaller circle, my ramekin. You know, I never had any idea what a ramekin was till I met my wife, and she uses ramekins for everything. But I had no idea these things even existed or what they were used for. We're just trying to break the space up on our picture into shapes. Okay, so we got some small ones. Now I'll go ahead and move on to my little small circle. So really I want to look around my paper and see where there's some big areas that need to be broken up into smaller shapes. Now I am going to take all of these circles overlapping have created little shapes. Here's a shape here, here's a shape, here's a big shape right there, there's some smaller shapes, here's a shape right there. So we've made lots of little shapes with our overlapping circles. Now inside of each of those shapes, I am going to create my pattern or my Zentangle design. And I'm just going to go right with Sharpies. So there's no mistakes. Whatever I put down, whatever marks I put down on the paper were meant to be. So I'll start with this shape right here, okay? And we want to add some kind of pattern. Now I'm not going to go through the whole drawing with you. I'll end up fast forwarding a lot of this. But I'm going to start by making some curvy lines. Whatever lines you want to do, you're just adding patterns and shapes. And like I said, I would encourage you to go online and look up Zentangles. Look up different types of Zentangle patterns. You'll find tons of ideas on the internet. So I started with some curved lines. Now I'm going to go inside those curved lines and I'm going to do some little designs. So I'm going to make little circles in every other one. So I'm just adding a row of circles. And then you got to figure out, okay, which parts, I made a circle on that one I shouldn't have. Which parts do you want to color in black and which parts do you want to leave white? So now I'm in the next section, in the in-between sections, I'm making lines. So I'm just adding patterns and filling them in. All right, so that in and of itself could be a Zentangle. I'm going to go in and I'm going to color in every other one of these stripes. All right, and then I colored in every other dot. So there's one example of a Zentangle. So now I'm going to go on to the next shape. And I think I'm going to make some, let's see. I think I'm just going to start by making some zigzag lines this time. It's kind of like the mandala that we made earlier. Whatever first instinct you have for kind of a shape, just use that, right? Then I'm going to make another row of shapes crossing over this way, kind of a similar thing. I went into that shape a little bit, so that's okay, I'll have to fix that later. Now I'm going to figure out something to add inside those shapes. So we got a funky little shape going on. Maybe I just want to make a little oval inside each of these shapes. And I'm changing them. Some I'm making a little more funky, some I'm making like regular ovals. Now, what I want to do is I want to go in and color the background around each one of these shapes. So again, you're working with positive and negative space. So I'm considering anything I color in black, I'm considering that positive space. Anything that I'm leaving white, I'm considering negative space. So I'm going to go back in and color in around my circles. Okay, so what I ended up doing was I ended up coloring the background on some of the shapes, and then I ended up coloring the circles on the other shapes, so I went every other one. All right, so we got some stuff going on here. I'm going to do, let me get my big marker. I'm going to do this shape. So I accidentally went into it with this line, so I'm going to use that. And I'm just going to make some curved lines, a row of curved lines. Okay, and then inside those curved lines, I've got to figure out something to do inside of them. So I might, I'll do little curved lines inside this one, and then make a little dot. And then maybe in this one I'll do some angle lines. So we'll go angle lines. In this one, angle lines are like kind of like V shapes, and then maybe inside the angle lines I'll make little triangles. So you kind of get the idea. So if you want to go from here and just start doing your own thing, go ahead. So now, and I also, you might want to use a ruler. For some of these, I'm not using a ruler, but if you wanted to, you could. So this time I made lines all coming from this corner, going out to the edges of my pattern. And then maybe I'll just do some more circles again, and I'll make them get smaller as they go down. So circles and dots. There, that. So I'm just doing a random curvy shape in this one, right? And then I might just do something as simple as color in every other one. And there I made some fish scales, and I'll just leave that one the way it is. So I'm going to continue making little Zentangle shapes all over the place, and you'll kind of get the idea. And I'm going to do fast forward on this one. You can even do things like you could put letters or words in some of these shapes if you want. Simple things like checkerboards. You could just do circles and color in the circles, or you could do circles and color in the background instead of the actual circles. It's really up to you. So I will continue to make my Zentangle, and you guys can just enjoy. All right, and there is our final Zentangle drawing. So hope you guys have fun with this. You can do a version like I did with circles. You can change it up and make some different shapes instead of circles that you fill up with Zentangles. Be creative, have fun with it, and I will see you next time.